the sun draws upon this day. We are remembered of this great person who came onto this earth to bring us peace and warmth and a teaching of gratitude, living in all spaces across all the lands and oceans, touching each individual, non-living and living, were so precious to us. And as the motion, the vibration across the oceans and land reaches all cultures, all languages, everyone will survive, moving forward into the future, into the light of divineness, where He was helping the undesirable ones. We're here now to place this lay upon His foot in gratitude for His loving graciousness and all of His followers that they can remember in their blessed memory. All the Lords, all the heavens are here today to bless us. And each one of you is here to bless your favorite, your name into the heavens.
Namaste. thank you very much. That was incredibly beautiful and inspiring. At this time, for those who are able, if you would please stand for the national anthem, followed by Hawaii Pono'i, thanks to the Royal Hawaiian Band.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed, and the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
We have many important guests in our audience tonight, this afternoon. At this time, we would like to recognize our elected officials who are here with us today. And we would like to call them up. Councilwoman Kimberly Pine, Senator Mike Gabbard, Senator Suzanne Shun Oakland, Senator Galataria. Let's have a round of applause for our elected officials. They will be laying lay at the statue. And Dr. Shaw. Please welcome. We're very honored to have you today.
各位先生、各位女士，大家好。
Aloha, good evening, namaste. Namaste means I welcome you all and bow to God residing in your heart. On behalf of Gandhi International Institute for Peace, I would like to welcome you. We are celebrating Mahatma Gandhi's 146th birthday, and it's our 10th annual event. This year is very important to us. We have achieved a great landmark due to the support of Honorable Senator Suzanne Chan Oakland, Honorable Senator Brian Taniguchi, and other Honorable Senator Mike Gavert and Brickwood Galatates are here. They introduced a bill in the legislature, SB 332, in last year, December. In March, the bill was passed by the House and Senate unanimously. Honorable Governor David Ige signed it into Act 5 on April 9, 2015. So we have created a history here. Let's give a big round of applause to all these senators and lawmakers and City Council, Kimberly Pine. They have supported the bill. Now Hawaii can proclaim October 2 as Mahatma Gandhi Day, and we can raise more awareness about non-violence and peace in our school system also down the road. On June 15, 2007, United Nations General Assembly also passed a resolution and declared Mahatma Gandhi's birthday, October 2, as International Day of Nonviolence. So today, this day is being celebrated worldwide. Mahatma Gandhi was a pioneer of nonviolent movement known as Satyagraha, asking for truth or resistance, which he did on cooperation and true resistance with British Empire, and he was able to remove British Empire and end their ruling in India in 1947 without using any weapon and army. Gandhi was inspired by the teachings of Jainism and Buddhism. He practiced and preached ahimsa, which means do not harm others in your thoughts, words, and actions. Buddha also said once, if violence begins in the minds of men, peace also begins in the minds of men. Noble and well-known people acknowledge and praise Gandhi. Romain Rolland called him another Jesus, and Albert Einstein said, it scares to believe that such a man with flesh and blood walked on this earth. Even though he was assassinated on January 30, 1948, he left a great legacy for the future generations to follow. He became immortal due to his good deeds for mankind. Presently, the world is suffering and being threatened by global terrorism and climate change. There is civil unrest in Afghanistan, Syria, Iraq, Crimea, and huge refugee crisis happening all over in Europe. Once Gandhi said, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. It's time to bring Gandhi's teaching back to the modern world and remind each other that we are brothers and sisters, and we all have a purpose to serve others in this world. Gandhi helped the poor, nursed the sick, and wounded people during war when he was in South Africa. He taught people to be non-violent even though British police was beating them up. Gandhi spent half of his life in prison, gave up all of his comforts, and led a very simple life. He gathered people from all faiths in his spiritual center, ashram, and listened to multicultural prayers every evening, what we are doing here today. He encouraged people to adopt orphan children, remove untouchability from society, and remove poverty by empowering poor people to use a spinning wheel to make your own clothes, and help them to establish a small cottage industry. He also advocated for equal rights for women. Gandhi encouraged people to follow the paths of love, truth, kindness, nonviolence, compassion, and humility. In his book, Gandhi's book, autobiography, he said that my life is my message. We must respect and accept each other and not discriminate towards those who are different or practice a different faith. No religion is superior to another, and no religion teaches that we should kill others in the name of God or religion. Like all rivers merge into one ocean, similarly all religious paths lead to one creator, which we call God. We have forgotten the messages of Bible, Quran, Bhagavad Gita, Guru Granth Sahib, Torah, Dhammapada, and other important religious scriptures. We have added the layers of false beliefs, greed, and desires on our consciousness for wealth and material possessions. Ancient scripture Vedas state, let us have concord with our own people and concord with people who are a stranger to us. Love creates peace between us and strangers and a unity of hearts. The Veda also teaches that we are one world family. The statement is not just about peace and harmony among societies in the world, but also the saying is about a truth that somehow the whole world has to live together. Peace is not absence of noise, anger, and war. Peace means the infinite and unshakable silence within. Peace is our birthright. We should never give up hope for peace, even it appears to be impossible. Peace is divine and eternal. When we make peace within family, our society, and ourselves, then it spreads to the world. Gandhi said, you must be the change you wish to see in the world, and when we change, the world changes. In the end, I would like to say that although we are ordinary people, we can use our faith, courage, and collective powers to do impossible things in our life. Every individual has potential to become an ambassador of peace, and we can make a difference in the world when we all work together for a common goal to create peace on earth. Mahalo.
Thank you, Dr. Kumar. Truer words have not been said. And I think it's safe to say that we wouldn't be here today without Dr. Kumar's vision many years ago. So please, let's give him another round of applause for all that he and his institution has done. All right, at this time, it gives me a great pleasure to introduce Dr. Reverend Dr. Jack Bomar, Ryan Souza, and the Unity Church Gospel Choir, who will be doing a very special medley, We Let It Be, and a peace song. Please help me welcome them to the stage.
Aloha. Aloha. Let's try that again. Aloha. Aloha. We're so honored to be here, to have gotten the call to come and celebrate. And it is certainly an honor for Unity Church of Hawaii to be able to be here and present. And we're gonna do a medley, and the medley is, a part of it is the peace song. And secondly, we're going to end up with a song called We Let It Be. And as we sing these songs, allow the words of these songs to soak in. Allow your mind to settle down and just listen. And I guarantee you these songs will move within you. If you feel like singing because they're a little repetitive, then please be our guest and sing along with us. verses. We let the peace wash over us. We let the peace wash over us. We let it be. We let the peace. We let the peace wash over us. We let it be.
Our next group of artists is being led by the beautiful and talented Ori-Ann Kaiulani Lee. She is a well-known hula dancer, choreographer, and a former Miss Hawaii. Today her group, Hula o Kaiulani, will perform a powerful song written by Queen Niuokalani while she was under house arrest in 1895. Her royal grace and forgiving heart for those who had betrayed her still live on in this next song. Please enjoy Ke Aloha o Kahaku, the Queen's Prayer, by Hula o Kaiulani.
Oh,
I will sing a song from my heart and soul in these 5 minutes. Hey, hey, ya, yo, ya, hey, yo, ya, hey, ya, yo, ya, hey, ya, ya, yo, ya, yo, ya, hey, hoy, ya, yo, ya, yo, hey, ya, hey, ya, hey, ya, hey. I would like to translate in English what I say. This is the song of heart and soul. Dear Dr. Kuma, dear all VIP members, dear every beloved one, I am honored to give this short speech. I honor Mahatma Gandhi. He is great living example for love, peace, and non-violence. Divine gave me a son. I am the servant of humanity. Gandhi is our great spiritual father. Humanity is suffering. Mother Earth is facing global warming. There are many challenges. So we follow Gandhi, we follow all great spiritual father, mothers. We follow divine. Divine gave me a soul song I want to share with each of you. It aligns with today's celebration day with Gandhi very well. 2 minutes more. I love my heart and soul. I love all humanity. Join heart and souls together. Love, peace, and harmony. Love, peace, and harmony.
您好 and 谢谢你. Coming up next, it is a great honor to invite to the stage Professor Maya Soetoro Ng, who is an assistant faculty specialist at the Spark M. Matsunaga Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution at the University of Hawaii.
One thing that I loved about Gandhi is that he thought very holistically about education. And he thought about education as not simply being about the acquisition of discrete facts. He understood that education meant lifelong learning and integrated learning, and that it required that we take up social and emotional learning in every subject. So math should be taught with an eye specifically for how to build social justice and equity, and English should be taught for how to encourage empathy, and social studies should be taught in a way that looks at history and current events from multiple perspectives. And I am so grateful now that I get to work for the Matsunaga Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution. We do our best to ensure that all of the students at the University of Hawaii at Manoa have access to this integrated learning about peace and conflict, negotiation, facilitation, about human rights, civil rights, the history of peace movements, the theory of nonviolence, and much more. And what Gandhi believed, and we know to be true, I hope everyone assembled here, is that peace has to be, oh thanks. That was Lisa. Much better, sorry. But he taught us that peace has to be viewed in very pragmatic ways. Peace is not passive, it's about action. It's about making a commitment on a daily and ongoing basis. It's about marrying theory with practice and the world of the classroom with the community at large. And so I guess what I'd like to do on this wonderful day, and I'd like to thank Raj Kumar and the Gandhi International Institute for having me here and for being with you and speaking with you, is I would like to encourage all of you to support peace education, whether it's at the earliest K through 12 levels in our public schools or around the dinner table, or at the university level. Come take our classes. You know, I have this class right now, it's Leadership for Social Change, and I have in this class Republicans and Democrats. I have, I think the youngest is 19 and the oldest is 72. We learn a lot from our kupuna, and we have Bernie Sanders people, and we have, yes indeed, we have Donald Trump people there. Yes, and it's okay. You know, the thing about education, and what I think Gandhi would really want to have you remember, is that the value of it is in the discomfort. That we have an opportunity through conflict and through difference to grow, to understand ourselves anew, to move deeper into our own humanity. And it is in these places of tension, because let me tell you, as perfect as I tell my husband I am not, as it happens, perfect. And with regards to ahimsa, this notion that we must not commit an act of violence in word, thought, or deed, I am far from perfect. It is hard. I kill cockroaches at night when I wake up in Manoa. That's my confession. I struggle with vegetarianism, and I sometimes argue with my husband in ways that are neither helpful nor healthy. But the point is that we on this day can see that peace is something about, you know, helping us to become unafraid of that struggle, both the struggle with others and the struggle within. So I want you to think about the practical things that you all are going to do to build those skills and those dispositions, and to work with young people especially, whether aged 2 or, I guess 72 isn't young, but if we can embrace life, it is middle-aged. Happily so. And there's still a long way to go and lots of learning to be done. So I will leave with Gandhi's quote that is one of my favorites about how we must live like tomorrow, like today is our very last day, and learn as though we shall live forever. So let's keep on learning and sharing and teaching. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Maya, for those beautiful words and for everything that you do. All right, it is now time to call upon our state senator, Mike Gabbard, who is going to be presenting a proclamation from his daughter, Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard. Yes, a big round of applause. Senator Gabbard represents District 20 in West Oahu. He is currently the chair of the Water, Land, and Agricultural Committee, and he chaired the Energy and Environment Committee from 2009 to 2015. We all know that he is a strong advocate for the environment, for renewable energy, and for sustainability. Please help me welcome Senator Gabbard. Senator?
Hello, mai kako, and namaste.
Namaste.
It's truly an honor to be here this afternoon for the 10th annual celebration of Mahatma Gandhi Day and the International Day of Nonviolence. Special thanks to Dr. Raj Kumar and the Gandhi International Institute for Peace. Also to the Friends of the Gandhi statue in Waikiki, and to Kim Duffett and Marcia Joyner. And the Congresswoman sends her regrets. She could not make it this afternoon, and I will read her remarks. And it's okay, you don't have to call me Senator Gabbard. Tulsi's dad is just perfectly fine. Here's what Tulsi wrote. Aloha and namaste. Mahalo for the opportunity to offer a short message in recognition of the life and teachings of one of my greatest mentors, Mahatma Gandhi. Every year on this very special day, we honor the anniversary of his birth and International Day of Nonviolence. And today at his 10th annual gathering hosted by the Gandhi International Institute for Peace, we celebrate the first ever Mohandas K. Gandhi Day, which the state of Hawaii will officially observe on the second day in October of every year from this day forward. Yeah. Mahatma Gandhi has been an incredible influence in the lives of countless people around the world. As a student of the Bhagavad Gita, he shared the spiritual teachings of Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga, that we can only truly be happy if we are using our life in the loving service of God and humanity. He also took inspiration from the teachings of Jesus Christ in the Bible's New Testament. The core message of both teachings is the universal truth that we cannot be fulfilled if we only live for ourselves, and we cannot overcome the divisive challenges facing our communities if we do not first sincerely respect and love one another in spite of our differences. So as we think about each of us, how each of us can affect positive changes in our community, across the country and in the world, let us always remember the lessons of Mahatma Gandhi, who said, and I quote, "The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others," unquote. Mahalo nui loa to the Gandhi International Institute of Peace and all who work to make the dream of Mohandas K. Gandhi Day become a reality. And mahalo for echoing Mahatma Gandhi's message of selfless service, caring for each other, and caring for our planet. With aloha, Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, serving the people of Hawaii's 2nd District. And as we reflect on the incredible impact that Mahatma Gandhi had on the history of India, South Africa, and the movement of nonviolent civil disobedience all across the world, I can't help but think of personally what he meant to me, a rebellious, selfish teenager growing up in the Deep South, who was at that time addicted to surfing and partying. After a near-death surfing accident and Hurricane Betsy, I began to realize that there was more to life than me, myself, and I. It was Gandhiji and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. who became my heroes, my role models that somehow I wanted to emulate in the future. The most important thing that inspired me then and continues today is Gandhiji's message of selfless service. Here was a gentleman who was thrown in prison and went through incredible hardships to help those who were oppressed and treated unfairly. He wasn't worried about his own comforts, but he was committed to doing the right thing, no matter what the cost. And as he said perfectly, and I quote, "Service is the noblest which is rendered for its own sake," unquote. So happy 146th birthday, Gandhiji. Namaste, Bapu, aloha, and mahalo for all that you have done for us. Thank you.
Coming up next, let's welcome to the stage the lovely and talented Sequoia Carr Brown and Willow Chain and Bollywood Hawaii, who will be performing the Deva Sri Ganesha and dance.
Deva Shri Ganesha, Deva Shri Ganesha, Deva Shri Ganesha, Deva Shri Ganesha, जीना भी ना जीना भी है दोनों का तुमसे ही वास्ता ओ मैं ही तो तेरा पता है दूसरा ना कोई रास्ता आए मुझ तक वो तुमको जो हो ढूंढता मेरे खामोशियों में है तू बोलता ये जीना भी ना जीना भी जो भी हुआ है वो तुमसे हुआ
Thank you so much. How amazingly moving and brilliant was that? Thank you. At this time, I'd like to call upon Senator Brickwood Galataria, who represents the 12th Senatorial District that includes Waikiki, Ala Moana, Kaka'ako, Macaulay, and Mo'iliili. He has served in the Hawaii State Senate since 2008 and is currently in his third term. Senator Galataria was born and raised in the Kaka'ako and Kapahulu areas where his entire family worked, played, and worshipped, and he has a very special proclamation for us today. Thank you, Senator.
Mahalo. Thank you very much, Deidre. And good afternoon, and what a beautiful sunset we have awaiting us. Let me begin with a word that best describes Mahatma Gandhi, and if you could help me, aloha. Aloha. One more time, aloha. Aloha. Welcome to Waikiki, the district that I so proudly represent in the state senate. And on behalf of my colleagues, two of which are sharing the afternoon with us here, we want to say mahalo and nuelo and thank you for helping us celebrate the life of such a great man. We've learned through various speakers and performances here today the universal relevancy and aloha of this blessed individual and his incredible courage, the type of courage that nonviolence requires. Gandhi said nonviolence is a weapon of the strong. The weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. Can we show that we have the wisdom and the courage to meet a comparable challenge? I've had on the occasion of this over 10 years now, Raj, I've spoken several times and brought comparisons to Martin Luther King and our own Queen Liliuokalani, who is our beacon of peace and nonviolence here in Hawaii. I share Liliuokalani's path of courageousness as she, through an extraordinary act of nonviolence, yielded her authority to the United States of America in 1893. I'm sure that generations since has embraced Queen Liliuokalani as our beacon of peace and nonviolence. And I'm sure that I'd like to be a part or listen to a conversation between Mahatma Gandhi and Queen Liliuokalani. That would be something to listen to. Today I was scheduled to provide a Senate proclamation, but it was preferable that the person who actually authored it would be presenting it to you. So I would defer to my colleague, Senator Chun Oakland. And with that, I get a chance to share with you another proclamation that's been referred to several times by Dr. Kumar and by Senator Gabbard. This gentleman resides in the original residence of Queen Liliuokalani. The proclamation presented to the Gandhi International Institute for Peace, whereas annually on October 2nd, Gandhi is remembered with a national holiday in India, whereas visions of the Gandhi International Institute for Peace is to provide peace education to children, whereas in an effort to promote public awareness, the Gandhi Institute for Peace requested the legislature, that's us guys, to commemorate Gandhi's birth, which resulted in Senate Bill 332. So on April 9th, 2015, our Governor David Ige signed the bill into law. Therefore, on behalf of the Governor and the Lieutenant Governor Shan Tsutsui, we do hereby proclaim October 2nd as Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi Day in the state of Hawaii. Mahalo no aloha, and thank you very much. And now I'd like to bring up a colleague, Senator Susie Chan Oakland, who co-authored the Senate proclamation. Senator Oakland.
Aloha, everyone. It is very special to be here this evening. Just knowing what you do, many of you live the life of peace and help our community in so many ways. I'd like to thank all of you for being a part of this evening. On behalf of the Senate and the House, we really wanted to recognize, first of all, say happy birthday to Mahatma Gandhi. It took a number of years before we could pass the bill that recognizes in Hawaii this special day for him and for all of humanity. So on behalf of all the legislators, we would like to present this certificate to Raj Kumar. Dr. Kumar has worked so hard and diligently, as all of you have, to make this happen. So congratulations to Dr. Kumar, and again, happy birthday to Mahatma Gandhi.
Our next dignitary, whom I'd like to call to the stage, proudly represents the communities of Leeward, West Oahu, from Makaha to Kapolei to Ewa Beach, and with a decade of experience working for the people of Hawaii as a former state representative, council member Kimberly Marcos Pine is a visionary leader who is committed to preserving our open spaces, revitalizing our parks, improving transportation, and creating community solutions. And she is going to read a proclamation by our Honorable Mayor, Kurt Caldwell.
Namaste. I am so honored to be here today. It seems like it's getting harder and harder in the world today when someone hits you to not want to hit back. When someone hurts you, to forgive. And so we search for spiritual leaders that will guide our hearts to respond the way we are meant to from God. And Gandhi is that person. I'm so honored to represent the mayor. He's so sorry that he can't be here today. He truly wanted to be here. And we thank him because he's the person that approves where the Royal Hawaiian Band goes, and he said he wanted them to come here today. So thank you, Mayor. And I can't believe I get to speak along with Master Shah. If you haven't met him personally and have been blessed by this wonderful man, I highly encourage you to meet him tonight before you leave today. He has truly blessed the Hawaiian Islands, and I know that we will be so much better because he is here. Thank you, Master Shah. He's somewhere. He already got kidnapped by a few people. So on behalf of the mayor, Raj would like me to read this for you. Whereas Mahatma Gandhi's uncompromising dedication to justice and nonviolence remains an inspiration and a testament to the timeless relevance of his beliefs. Whereas this iconic figure of hope and peace is remembered today for leading India to independence, free from decades-long British rule through his doctrine of nonviolence. Where there is a strong desire for freedom and democracy in our global society, and Gandhi's non-violent response to oppression and injustice inspires people throughout the world. And whereas the Gandhi International Institute of Peace, located in Honolulu, provides information, consultation, education, and training to resolve conflicts in non-violent manner, which leads to harmony in the family, school, workplace, and community. Whereas the Gandhi International Institute for Peace presents Mahatma Gandhi's 140th birthday, an International Day of Nonviolence on October 2nd in Waikiki, and invites the public to join them in reflecting upon the profound legacy of the man known as Mahatma, or Saint, who pioneered the concept of Satyagraha. Raj gave me this for the first time, and I apologize. Satyagraha. Namaste, sorry. Resistance to tyranny through peaceful non-cooperation. And whereas Hawaii became the first state to officially commemorate Mahatma Gandhi Day on October 2nd by Governor David Egan, now therefore I, Kurt Caldwell, Mayor of the City and County of Honolulu, do hereby proclaim October 2nd, 2015 to be Mahatma Gandhi Day. Mahalo.
Namaste. If I could have all of you take just a deep breath with me, especially with this beautiful sunset. Both Nemo and I have been lucky enough to spend some time actually at the Gandhi Ashram in Ahmedabad, Gujarat, and we bring greetings to you from there. What's actually really special, and Auntie Kay Howe helped us think about this in terms of time, is it's about 10 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday at the Gandhi Ashram, and it's actually a beautiful time where we get together to have a all religions prayer that starts Om Tat Sat Shri. And so we wanted to share that with you so that you know that even today, the messages of Gandhi, not only those of nonviolence and peace that have been so beautifully spoken about today, but actually about sort of living that message every day is still something that so many people at the Gandhi Ashram and around the world continue to practice. So with that, I'm going to let Nemo, who spent the most recent time at the Gandhi Ashram, tell you more about some of the messages as well as some of the love that we get a chance to be a part of. So aloha.
Aloha, namaste. Thank you, Rupal. I think one of the beautiful things about Mahatma Gandhi that sometimes gets overlooked in the disguise of his beautiful endeavors to bring freedom to India was the small acts of love that he was composed of. And that idea of small acts of love really was his whole life journey, unfolding in small acts. And I just remember a few small stories. One where he was going on a train, and as he's stepping onto the train, one of his slippers falls off. And everybody around him was like, Bapu, Bapu, your slippers. Some people jumped down there. Before anybody could even realize, as they were saying this, all he did was let the other one go and said, at least somebody could use them. You know, this concept and awareness of how can we keep on offering ourselves is such a beautiful message that he lived by, that he leaves with us, that we can all live in his spirit once we leave this celebration here by continuing to spread small acts of kindness around us. In that spirit, I wanted to share a song with you all. That's part of a gift offering that I call Empty Hands. And the song is called Being Kind. Very simple concept that I feel everyone has talked about today. And I'm going to encourage all of you. There's a line in the song that says, grab a friend and give a hug. So feel ready to grab a friend and give a hug. Grab a stranger and give a hug. Thank you. It's the reason why we holding back from being kind. What's the disease but then a sense We are fine, it'll all happen, one small step at a time. When the world is full of violence and it needs a little kindness, I just sit and pray in silence, and God shows me the signs. Open my eyes, realize we are fine, one small act. Last night I'm walking home and a homeless man says hello with a smile to let me know that he's got a lot of hope. He says, have faith, young man, we are fine. The world is kind. Small acts we do together, even though maybe alone, changes the world for the better, so we can call it home. And this is life as we know, and our hearts are alive. The magic that unfolds, one small act at a time. Throw your hearts up, let it fly high. Let your love for all the world, spread it through the skies. Let it drop down, let it all go, spreading kindness through every single living soul. Can you see your love for me shining through? 'Cause what you see in me, I can see in you. And soon enough, you and me will be out of time, and kindness will be all we can leave behind. Yeah. Feeling grateful today, never thought this day would come where I would feel it and say each and every one of us have paved the way doing good, and now we're all just moving up. When I'm kind to you, you pay it forward. This is how we build trust. Never had faith, but now I'm seeing you eye to eye. Wanna gift you my life, wanna spread love before I die. Thank you, God, for finally letting me realize when I serve man, I'm really serving you in disguise. Smiles everywhere, 'cause now everybody's got the bug. Ain't no life without the love. If it is, it ain't no fun. What we gonna do? Now just grab a friend and give a hug. Spread it out real wide so everyone can be touched. Throw your hearts up, let it fly high. Let your love for all the world spread through the skies. Let it drop down, let it all go, spreading kindness through every single living soul. Can you see your love for me shining through? 'Cause what you see, I can see in you. And soon enough, you and me will be out of time, and kindness will be all we can leave behind. Kindness is all we can leave behind. All we can leave behind. You and I, kindness is all we can leave behind. Oh, behind. When all is said and done, kindness is all we can do. Throw your hearts up, let it fly high. Let your love for all the world spread through the skies. Let it drop down, let it all go, spreading kindness through every single living soul. Can you see your love for me shining through? 'Cause what you see in me, I can see in you. And soon enough, you and me will be out of time, and kindness will be all we can leave behind. Aloha, namaste, may we all keep walking in his path, spreading seeds of love.
Another round of applause to our performers from the Empty Hands Pilgrimage. Our next dignitary, whom I'd like to invite to the stage, is the President and CEO of Mediators Beyond Borders, an international non-governmental organization whose mission is to build local skills for peace and promote mediation worldwide. She is a professor at the University of Pittsburgh and a conflict transformation practitioner who has mediated, facilitated, and trained worldwide. Let's welcome Prabha Sankaranarayan.
So, building a peaceable world, what I'm going to talk about is people-centered peace building. The only lasting peace is the one built by the disputants themselves. We will not submit to this injustice, not merely because it is destroying us, but because it is destroying you as well. Some of you may recognize these as Gandhi's words to the British more than 6 decades ago as he was addressing the oppression of the country. And I want to say that we may apply this to any context today. I'd like to challenge all of us to examine how willing we are to see this perspective. Not just about an injustice, but any of the acts of violence that affect all of us. Are we willing to recognize that the perpetrator is also destroyed by the act of violence? That it is not just the victim who is, but the perpetrator. And I will bring this back to Gandhi's teachings. Recognizing the humanity in all of us, as many who have spoken before me today remind us of, and most importantly, in that process, remaining engaged with each other is what I want to focus on today. So I'd like to address both the active element of ahimsa as well as the dangerous element of resolving the kinds of conflicts we have all been referring to today. So just as a little quick background, I wanted to make this a little more personal. I spent the first 20 years of my life in India. I know you wouldn't know that from my accent now. But taking for granted the results of this great man's work. What did I know? I was a child who went to school and took for granted both his leadership and all that he had accomplished for us. So we studied everything he did in school, from first grade until 10th and 12th grade. How many times we listened to the speeches at Gandhi Jayanti, as you are all doing today, with a little bit of boredom, I will say. I mean, how many times can you hear about the salt satyagraha? How many times can you hear about the Quit India movement? For an 8-year-old, for a 9-year-old, it got a little tiresome. About his opposition to the parda, to child marriage, to untouchability, and the extremes of the oppression of the Hindus in India. So, growing up in this environment, I spent then the next 20 years of my life completely absorbed in work with the victims and perpetrators of violence. I sat every day with people who had committed horrendous acts of violence against the most vulnerable among us, the children. And then with the children who had experienced these deeply damaging, painful, and sometimes permanently damaging acts of violence. I did this at all different levels. And then it was over the next 15 years, as I studied conflict resolution and peace building, that I came back to Gandhi. And gradually to an entirely different picture which emerged, different from the one I knew as a child and had left at 20. And it was a bit paradoxical, I will say. Turned out, this great Mahatma was greater, much greater than I had realized. And here is the lovely part, much more accessible. He wasn't this huge figure. No longer was he a distant figure. Everything he taught us about, it was exciting for me. It was exciting because I started to see the connections with what I was doing every day, the work I wanted to be engaged in, and most importantly, the spirit of reconciliation I was experiencing in people across the world. I have the good fortune to work with some of the most wonderful, brave people in the world. I work with the peace builders in different parts of the world, and it is their spirit of tremendous resilience with which I stand before you today. I honor the spirit of resistance to oppression and violence in all of the people with whom I work. And it is in honor and memory of those who have given their lives that I have the courage to stand in front of you, a humble, modest peace builder in front of one of the greatest in the world. Over and over again, in almost every context that we were asked to work, we were engaged in conflict resolution skills. People who had been deeply impacted were doing this work. And it often led to creating the context for what Ken Cloak, one of my teachers, calls mediating dangerously. So I've mentioned two concepts. The first is the idea that injustices affect both sides, the oppressor and the oppressed. The second is the idea of mediation, conflict resolution being dangerous. I'll go a little further than Gandhi did to say that both the oppressor and the oppressed are affected, and so are the rest of us. We can no longer be innocent bystanders. We are complicit if we are silent. So I beseech all of you.
Thank you very much. I would also like to recognize a special guest that has just joined us, United States Senator Daniel Akaka. Thank you for being here, Senator. We are now going to go into the dialogue on world peace with our interfaith leaders. We have 4 individuals who are going to be speaking for a few minutes. Each one will come up and speak, and we're going to start with Bishop Randolph Sykes. He's with Orthodox Christianity. We are going to hear his view first, so please help me welcome the Bishop.
Namaste. Aloha mai kako. Jesus speaks to us and says that we must love God with our whole heart, our whole mind, and our soul, and our neighbor as ourself. That is the fundamental basis for peace from a Christian perspective. I know this evening after me you will be hearing Sister Joan Chatfield speak from the Catholic perspective. I would just like to offer that we are both Christians and the message is essentially the same. We all have a duty to be peaceful in ourselves so that that peace may spring forth and be shown to others so that by our example we may be fulfilling to ourselves and to others, and that we, above all, show love, respect, and compassion for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bishop. Please help me welcome Sister Joan Chatfield, Roman Catholic.
Aloha. We are all on a voyage of aloha, those of us that live, work, love, and care about Hawaii. You know, Hawaii is the largest population, the farthest from a landmass. And if we were all to get our act together and be the ministers of aloha and the ministers of compassion and the ministers of nonviolence and the ministers of taking problems as they are presented and working on them to have them corrected, it would seem as if we could give a message to the world. Now, if you're on a voyage, let's figure you're in a canoe or a boat, and let us figure that we are helped by others who make the voyage go. I stand here as a practicing Roman Catholic, as a maryknoll sister for 65 years. That works. It still works for me, so I'm still at it. I'm still working at it. But I also happen to belong to the group that is the largest numerical group here in Hawaii. It happens, if you look at lists, that there are somewhere around 161,000 registered Catholics, of whom I think maybe a third go to church, but that's not the point. The point is that when they go to Queen's Hospital or Straub or a clinic, they all want a priest. Why? Because what it is from their childhood onward that makes them use that word Catholic, which is universal, affects them right down to the end of their life. That means that we, as people who care about peace, who care about compassion, who care about living in a world that represents that. We have to be that committed. So I suggest that each of us, even though I'm talking from a Catholic perspective, each of us can use whatever that family of faith that we have, family of believers, family of those who care. We use that message to move us forward to nonviolent acceptance of peace. I stand here tonight for the 9th time out of 10. I've only missed one. And I want to tell you that this time I'm standing here after the leader of the Catholic Church spoke to the whole world. He came to Cuba and the United States for 10 days, but what did he do? Every time he spoke, he included everyone. You pray for me, he said. And if you don't pray or if you don't believe in God, just think kind thoughts. What a beautiful and inclusive way to make peace work. Think kind thoughts. And we've heard about what a conversation in heaven would be between Queen Liliuokalani and Gandhi. I would like to know what a conversation would be ultimately for all of the people who are pushing the world towards peace. So we must be in that group. We can't let everybody else do it. We have to do it. And if we do it, then we are true to our commitment. Usually, when you think of organized religion, in this country, very often people see the difficulties. No, let's look at the strengths. Let's look at what it is that makes us care enough to work for what we should do. So let us be committed, and I'll see you next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister. Please help us welcome Reverend Kevin Kuriyuki, representing the Buddhist perspective. Reverend?
Namaste and aloha. Well, actually, I'm Pinshir. Unfortunately, our bishop has a conflicting peace activity at the Pacific Buddhist Academy, which emphasizes Buddhist education, and there was a little conflict. But in any case, though, oh, by the way, Sister Joan, I love your Pope. He's a wonderful guy. And I think I'll leave it at that, because the wonderful thing I see that's happening is that we are getting past the labels and the words and going towards the meaning and the feeling. As Professor Kumar had mentioned in the Dhammapada, hate and violence is not dispelled by hate and violence. It is only addressed and dispelled by love. And this is what I hear in all the messages. Let us in small kindnesses, let us in respect for each other, in striving to not just tolerate each other, but to truly understand each other in true compassion, share this life together. So I thank all the speakers, and I have taken to heart their message, and I hope that you will too. Again, namaste, and indeed, aloha pumehana. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend. And finally, please help me welcome Veda Das, representing the Hindu ISKCON perspective.
I'd like to thank Dr. Rajkumar and the Gandhi Institute for inviting me. I'm kind of a newcomer here. Hare Krishna. Actually, we've got Hinduism written, but the better definition is Sanatana Dharma. It means the eternal nature of the soul, which is the eternal nature of the soul is to serve God. So that's more a better definition of the platform for which I'm speaking. Mahatma Gandhi was a shining example and spokesman of Indian or Vedic culture. India is famous for where the Vedas, the eternal knowledge and truths, are heard and spoken. Of the Vedas, the Bhagavad Gita is most prominent, as are the Upanishads. Gandhi made a statement that if all the Vedas were lost, if only the first verse of the Ishopanishad remained, then the revelations of the Vedas would be saved. Ishava Shamidam Sarvam Yatkincha Jigacham Jigat Tena Taktena Brunjata Madgudha Kashasviddanam. Everything that is animate or inanimate that is within this universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota, and one must not accept other things knowing well to whom they belong. So this is the root cause of most violence, that some people are dissatisfied with their quota, and out of greed will even employ violence to get more than their fair share. Decreasing greed is solved by following the Ishopanishad and only accepting one's quota, and understanding that everything is ultimately owned and controlled by the Lord. Gandhi stated that, what difference does it make to the dead, the orphans, and the homeless, whether the mad destruction is wrought under the name of totalitarianism or the holy name of liberty or democracy? So this is our present American and world dilemma, that since 9/11, our supposed great country has been perpetually at war, the eternal war on terror. However, if America and the first world countries could reduce their dependence on petroleum, there would be no need for these wars. Gandhi supported the philosophy of simple living and high thinking, a much more prudent approach to life, which greatly reduces oil dependence. He wove his own cloth, lived and traveled simply, and practiced yoga. Gandhi basically founded the Green Revolution. Gandhi had a strong friendship with the Russian author Leo Tolstoy, who said, "War is so unjust and ugly that all who wage it must try to stifle the voice of conscience within themselves." This is the perfect explanation for post-traumatic stress disorder. That war is hell. And besides greed, another direct cause of war, according to both Gandhi and Tolstoy, was meat-eating. Gandhi said, the greatness of a country can be judged by the way its animals are treated. And Tolstoy said, as long as there are slaughterhouses, there will be battlefields. Lord Krishna states in the Bhagavad Gita, Yad yadacharti shrestas tad tadivittarotana sayat paramanam kurute lokastadam vartate. Whatever action is performed by a great man, common men will follow in his footsteps. And whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. So let us follow in the footsteps of Mahatma Gandhi and give up the unrighteous violence to all living beings and create a world of love and peace. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next artist who will be coming to the stage will be performing a song from a legend of modern music. Let's welcome Wallen Ellingson and children from Kiki Kani Music Studio, who will be performing Imagine by John Lennon.
Die for no possessions. I love you if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You rule. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will live as one.
Another big round of applause. I think that the future is in really good hands, don't you? All right, thank you. At this time, we'd like to call upon Dr. Jared Euro to give us some words about health and wellness, which is a human right. Doctor? Thank you.
Namaste, Shalom, and Aloha, or as we Hawaii Jews say, Shaloha. I am humbled and honored to be here today. I present greetings on behalf of Rabbi Ken Aronowitz and Temple Emmanuel Synagogue here in Honolulu, Hawaii, and to my kumu, Uncle Bruce Keaulani, and the many kupuna that have entered and continue to enter my life. I offer gratitude for all you continue to teach me. Gandhi said, the key to health lies in being at peace. What is this peace? As a healing practitioner, it means that I am concerned with the total well-being of my client. Create that peace. Because every individual is entitled to health and wellness. One is inseparable from the other. A week ago this past Wednesday, Jews concluded the holiest 10-day period of the year, which began with Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, and Yom Kippur, the Jewish Day of Atonement. After our morning Yom Kippur worship service, we retired from our sanctuary for group reflection with our rabbi. For you see, this holiest of days allows us time for deep introspection. Most notable was discussion about God's actual name, which historically was only uttered by the high priest in the inner sanctuary of the temple on Yom Kippur. It is composed of vowels only, and when spoken, according to Rabbi Harold Kushner, sounds like this. Yes, you heard it. A single breath. The sound a baby makes when it is first born. It is the spark of the divine which Jews believe resides in every single individual, be they Jew, Muslim, Hindu, or Christian, as Gandhi might have said. And perhaps not surprisingly, matches the Hawaiian word aloha, which literally means breath of life. As healers, we nurture the flame of a soul in distress and attend to his or her needs. It is about helping the individual recognize the gifts that Creator has provided as endowment and kuleana, responsibility. It is about tikkun olam, Hebrew for healing the world, one soul at a time. Gandhi said, see the good in people and help them. At the Department of Health, Alcohol and Drug Abuse Division, also known as ADAD, where I work as a public health psychologist, help takes the form of looking at clients holistically, taking an approach consistent with the Hawaiian concept of ola, health and well-being. We have already begun to discuss the implementation of client health and wellness service plans. Note that I did not say addiction recovery plan, mental health plan, or case management plan. Key to these plans is the recognition of the importance of the client's culture, ethnicity, and spirituality in the healing process. ADAD supports the use of cultural experts for healing, including kupuna to share and teach about the host culture's healing practices. I am proud to say that ADAD may be among the first, or in fact, the first, federal, state, or local agency to use a nationally recognized billing code from the United States Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services for cultural activities. And I'm going to borrow a little word in Pidgin because we all have cousins here, yeah? It's okay to cockroach from us. So if you guys want to take from us and do what we're doing, it's okay. In closing, I would like to stir us to a call to action by reminding what Gandhi said. To give pleasure to a single heart by a single act is better than 1,000 heads bowing in prayer. He also said, there is force in the universe which, if we permit it, will flow through us and produce miraculous results. Let us do the work that is needed. In Hebrew we say, Kain Yehi Ratzon, may it be God's will. Imua.
All right, so I think we have gently come to the end of our program, Brother Ryan, almost.
We have.
It's been a lovely evening.
It has been truly an honor to serve here with the Gandhi International Institute of Peace and the October 2nd Gandhi Day celebration here in the park. It's truly been a humble honor for me to serve here. And our next guest coming to the stage, we're going to present a candlelight ceremony by the Knights of the Orthodox Order of St. John, Dr. Terry Shintani, Prior, and Honorable U.S. Senator, retired Daniel Ikaka, Lieutenant Prior. Let's give a warm welcome.
Thank you.
Aloha everyone and namaste. I'm Dr. Shintani. I thank you for all participating. I'm also the chair of the advisory board of the Gandhi Institute of Peace. I've worked with Raj for many years on this. I'm going to have the Knights of the Order of St. John line up on this side. Can we start with the Knights of the Orthodox Order of St. John are the continuation of a 1,000-year history of service to humanity. The motto is Pro Fide Pro Utilitate Hominum, which is for faith and for service to humanity. And those who are knighted have a distinguished history of service to the community. For example, of course, everyone knows Senator Kaka. We also have Michael Bailey with him, co-founder of Greenpeace. We have Patty Lyons, Living Treasure of Hawaii for helping to found Child and Family Service for abused children. We have Dr. Lauren Lau, unsung hero. He's a local boy who invented the pregnancy test. We have Dr. Catherine Takara, professor and award-winning poet. Lady Sheila Spencer, she's actually cousin to Lady Diana. Steve Onowe, longtime, he's helped to organize the Prince Lot Festival. From the mainland, actually from the International Board of Directors of the Orthodox Order of St. John, Russian Grand Priory, Mark de Rohan Barondes, and I'm sorry with the light I can't see everyone there. But please give them a round of applause for their community service. I'm going to ask Senator to just say a couple of words of welcome before we start the candlelight ceremony. And for this ceremony, everyone is invited to participate. We're going to all be laying a lighted candle at the foot of the Gandhi statue to represent your offering of peace to the world. Senator?
Aloha. Aloha. I am delighted to be here on behalf of the Knights of the Orthodox Order
of St. John. And just to give you a feeling of where we're coming from, the Knights of the Orthodox Order of St. John began in the year 1043. And we are here to join all of you to commemorate the life and what he brought into the world of Gandhi. And I want to commend the International Institute, the Gandhi International Institute for Peace, for continuing to bring Gandhi before the people of Hawaii, of this great country of the United States, as well as to the world. The world really, in a sense, changed when Gandhi came into being. And what he did in his life inspired the world and made the world a better place to live. And so we join all of you here to commemorate the life of Gandhi and what he did for the people of the world. And so I want to commend all of you for being here tonight. And the one word that I want to use here, which is the word of aloha, is that we can learn from Gandhi because he inspired us in our lives. Learn to be examples of aloha as we deal with other people. And when Gandhi came into the world, he really changed relationships of people so that people will love each other. And so we join you, the Knights join you in this, and thank God for Gandhi. God bless all of you. God bless your families. God bless America. And God bless this earth. Aloha. Aloha.